Let's talk a little bit more now about your actual future for SeaPort and your vision there. You told me that you guys are looking at going to Boise and Idaho Falls.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a phenomenal route for Horizon for many years, and as what happens with companies like Horizon and SkyWest is they get larger and larger aircraft, so they have to retreat from these smaller markets, and that's the perfect place for us to go fill a void that has been left by somebody else. And so we're very excited. We're just in initial talks, but yeah, I think Idaho Falls to Boise is definitely in our near future.
That's really cool. How do you guys define whether a route is going, like what data do you look at? How do you figure out? I mean, that was in, having flown that route quite a few times myself, and I didn't realize it had gone away, but it was always, flights were pretty full, and they seemed to be doing it quite a bit. They were like little 37-seater flights, I think. But now that that's gone, that would be like, oh yeah, this would be a perfect place for you guys. But that's not all you look at, obviously. How do you guys determine which routes you're going to go?
Well, there's all kinds of data that is provided by the federal government. As any scheduled air carrier, we have to provide how many people that we fly, what we charge, and that's all kind of conglomerated on websites that you can go to and determine what traffic used to exist and what kind of fare was charged between any city pair anywhere in the country. That coupled with, though, the community of Idaho Falls picked up the phone and called us and said, hey, think about coming here. This is what we used to have. This is why we think we are worthy of this air service, and take a look at us.
Okay. Now, can people just go right on your website and book just like they could, say, on one of the other larger airlines?
Oh, absolutely.
There's pretty much the same.
You can call us on the phone. You can go on our website. You can go to Expedia, Travelocity, Orbitz, Priceline. Our tickets are the same places that you will find anybody's tickets.
Really?
Yeah.
And so what's the difference then between like those types of flights and a charter flight?
A charter flight, you have to arrange in advance, and the plane is yours, and you say where you want to go, and you put as many people or a few people or pets or stuff in the plane that you want, and then it's yours for the time you contract.
Okay. So does that happen a fair amount?
We do a little bit of charter. The scheduled airlines is our primary focus. We don't, it would not be appropriate for us to cancel scheduled flights because we could make more money doing a charter. So we have to fit charters in around, where we have extra airplanes to operate those flights.
Okay. Now, do you guys ever have to, I think they call it deadheading, where you have to or ferry a flight back and it's, empty? Do you guys deal with that much, or is...
Well, we try to minimize that as best we can. That's a very expensive thing, but machines break, and yeah, we have to, trade planes out, and, things happen. So it does happen, but, careful management is one of the reasons that we can keep our costs low and our fares affordable.
Okay. And so with this future expansion into Boise and Idaho Falls, will that also put you in a position to be able to do some more expansion because Boise is a kind of a hub, isn't it? So you could potentially go other areas from there, or...
Yeah, potentially. There's a couple communities in Montana that has approached us that, Idaho Falls would put us in shooting range of them. There's a couple communities in western Nevada that have approached us, and with a connection into Reno. So there's lots of possibilities as we get further and further east.
Okay. Memphis.
The best barbecue.
There you go. How did that come about? And you mentioned something in the break too, which I want you to explain because it was really fun. I thought it was funny. You said, well, we sort of have this, you called it the bladder test, or the bladder
limit. Yes,
bladder limit, because you don't have lavatories or
Correct.
restrooms on your planes.
Correct.
So that is something you have to think about. Oh yeah, people can't necessarily be up in the air for 3 hours.
Right.
So how does the Memphis thing work?
Well, that originated off a federal contract to provide rural air service to rural communities, and we started with 4 communities in rural Arkansas, connecting them into Memphis, and that's since grown into Kansas City and Salina, Kansas, all connecting back through our Memphis hub.
Okay. So you don't, if somebody wanted to take SeaPort from Portland to Memphis, It's a separate,
That's a separate
totally
thing.
separate thing. Okay.
Yeah, the irony of our first flight in Salina, it was someone that started in Astoria, and they flew on SeaPort from Astoria to Portland, got on U.S. Airways, flew to Kansas City, and then got back on SeaPort to fly to Salina, Kansas.
Really?
Yeah.
So what are your customers, your guests rather, what are they saying about you guys?
They love us. We are very fortunate that we have very vocal customers that tell us that we really make their day, we meet their needs. When we've had instances where pilots have driven stranded guests to hotels when their car didn't start. We've had instances where one of our passengers had their spouse's keys and we've turned planes around to give them their keys back. We really go out of our way to make sure that we're meeting as many needs as we possibly can, and I'm just so thrilled that people pick up the phone and they call their papers, they write about us, they blog, and it's very gratifying.
So as you grow, because obviously you hope to grow, I would assume, is that, you mentioned Horizon earlier and sort of how they've, as they get larger and grow and their planes get bigger and, that service and stuff has to change and adapt to that in a sense. Will SeaPort always put the emphasis on the customer service and the experience over possibly, we could make a little more money doing it this way? Will you guys always operate under that?
Absolutely. We have opportunities now as we grow where we could outsource ground handling, and there's companies that do that, and even though that might be more efficient or cheaper for us, we don't, because we want everyone to be trained and understand the culture of SeaPort and what we're all about, why we exist, why we have thrived through one of the worst economies in 50 years, is because that we treat all our customers as our guests. And if you don't buy into that, then that would be damaging to our brand and be bad for the company.
So the fuel costs, obviously, we've all felt that in our cars. You must feel that in the airline business as well. And so those are things that you can't have any control over, no matter how great your customer service is. How has that affected your pricing?
Well, it's driven our costs up. Where for about 9 months straight, most of our rural communities offered an advance purchase fare of $49, and now that's up to $59, which we're still proud of. That's a very affordable fare, but it does affect us. What I will say to fuel, though, is what we can control is our choice of aircraft. The Pilatus is one of the most fuel-efficient aircraft out there. We can actually fly 9 people between Seattle and Portland on 42 gallons of jet fuel. It's just phenomenally efficient, and since it's still in production, it remains state-of-the-art. As improvements are being made, as the plane continues to get engineered, we're the beneficiary of improvements to the plane.
Well, good deal. Well, Rob, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a little bit about your company. I'm really excited for you guys, and it's been a pleasure getting to talk to you, and I'm really looking forward to getting to utilize you guys.
Please do.
And I will. So thanks again for your time.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you coming out. And you guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on Local 8. Remember, take care of each other. See you next time.
Do you have a guest idea? Let us know. Go to localite.com.